Hi everyone, and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to show you how to do the Sunburst granny square, but I'm going to make it in a larger size. So I have one of the ones that I did here for my recent blanket, and your typical Sunburst granny square would be the 3 rounds up to the yellow, and then you would add in your white. Except I've added another round, a 4th round to the circle, just to make the squares a little bit bigger, because the bigger the squares, the less you have to make. I also like that it opens it up a little bit more, and it kind of looks more like your traditional granny. I did do a little more playing around with this granny square. This was one of the original ones that I had made, and as you can see, it wants to curl up. So I didn't like that puckering. In the end, after I joined all my squares, it was still wanting to pucker, so I had to block my blanket, and even that didn't really fix the problem. So I wasn't really happy with it, so I've gone ahead and I reworked it, and I found out a new way of doing it, and I think you guys are going to love it. So I figured I'd put it together a little tutorial for you guys and show you how it's done. So let's toss that one aside. So we're going to start out just like any other typical Sunburst granny square. We're going to start with our slip knot, and we're going to chain 5. I am using a worsted weight yarn, a number 4 yarn with a 5mm hook. So whatever yarn you're using, just use the appropriate hook size. It doesn't matter. And let's go. So chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're going to slip stitch into the 5th chain from your hook to create a little ring, and we're going to be working into the center of that ring. So this is where my pattern for the Sunburst differs a little bit than the typical ones that are out there. Well, I can't talk. I'm going to chain 2, 1, 2. This chain 2 counts as your first double crochet, okay? And we're going to work 15 double crochets into the center of the ring. So let's do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. If you run out of room, just pull them back, squish them in. 14, 15. So let's count. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So 16 total. Okay, so I'm not going to join into this chain 2 here. I am going to join into the top of my very first double crochet stitch. And that makes a really nice seamless looking round. Not so important if you're doing a different colored granny, but if you're doing one that's a solid color, so if you're not going to change colors every round and you're going to work it as one solid color, this is really important because it makes a really nice, seamless, beautiful finish. And I like to play around with different, variegated yarns and ombre yarns and stuff. And sometimes when you work them into these Sunburst grannies, they look really, really beautiful as solid colors. So it's important to have a seamless one. So if you are changing colors, you just tie off as I just did. And then I always just weave my tail into the back loops, 4 or 5 of them, flip it over and do that again all the way back, and then you can cut your yarn off, and you don't have to worry about sewing those tails in every round, which can get pretty tedious at the end. So I'm gonna cut this one off because I already worked 16 stitches over it, so it's good. I'll leave this tail on until I work my next round, and then I'll snip it off because I don't want it to start coming out as I'm working over it. So let's stick our hook into the top of any of the stitches. Any of those will do. I like to kind of turn it and find a new one. And grab your next color to join. So I just place my yarn over the hook, pull through the top of the stitches, and then yarn over and pull both of those through. then I drop the tail. Okay, and we're going to work over that tail so that we don't have to sew it in later. I'm going to chain, well, it was 1, 2, so you can just do 1. So I'll show you that again. Pull that out. So if you want, sometimes working the 2 chains makes it a little bit bumpy in that first puff stitch. So if you want, you can play around with just having the 1 chain there. Okay, that counts as just 1 chain. And you can work your puff stitches. I find it gets a little difficult, so I always chain that extra 1. Okay, but play around with whatever you like. So yarn over, insert your hook into that same stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, insert and pull up another one, yarn over and pull over another one, working all of those into that same loop. You should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 loops on your hook. You're going to yarn over and pull through all 7. So you want to keep those nice and loose because as you're pulling through, you don't want it to get snagged. You want your stitch to be nice and puffy. So we're going to do that again into all of the stitches all the way around. Yarn over, insert into the top, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop 3 times. Okay, yarn over and pull through all, chaining 1. And if you guys need to get caught up, just pause the video, get caught up. I'm just going to quickly work my way around here. Oops. And as you're coming all the way around, make sure that you have all 16 puffs. You really don't want to get to the round where you're turning your granny into a square and all of a sudden you don't have enough holes to complete your square. You have this weird sort of trapezoid shape. It happened to me a couple times because I didn't heed my own advice and I did not count my puffs. And it's always this round. Okay, so once we get all the way around, instead of joining into the top of those chains or the top into that puff, we're going to work into the space between the first 2 puffs, okay? So we're going to work into that space here to make that nice and visible join. So just slip stitch, just like so, okay? And if you are going to continue on using the same color, you would just chain 3 at that point. Otherwise, cut off your yarn and then hide this tail. Again, into the back loops only. I'm just going to do, 4 or 5. Flip it over and weave it back. This makes it nice and secure. There we go. And we're done with the purple. So I'm going to flip it over and cut that off. You can work into any space. We're going to be working into our spaces between the puffs. Oh, I didn't count, did I? See? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, got all my 16 puffs. Good. Don't want to screw up the tutorial. It would be bad. So let's join our next color. Again, you just drape it over the hook. I pull it through, yarn over, and pull through. Okay. We're going to work over this tail as well. We're going to chain 2. So that's the first one that joins the yarn. It counts as 1, 2, 3. So you have a chain 3. Okay. We're going to yarn over, insert our hook, yarn over and pull through 2. Yarn over, insert the hook, yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, insert your hook, pull through 2. One more time. Okay, you want 5 stitches on your hook. You're going to yarn over and pull through all 5 and chain 2. All right, and that is your bobble stitch. We're going to work the bobble stitch all the way around. So yarn over, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 loops on my hook. Yarn over and pull through all 5 and chain 2. Okay, so chain 2 when you get to your last one, and then again, we're not going to finish off into the top of our bobble. We're going to work into the space in between where my finger is there, right in there. So I'm going to insert my hook and slip stitch right through there. It creates that nice seamless look. Pull my yarn through here. Okay, if it starts to curl up on you, it's just, you're a tight crocheter like me. Don't worry about it, it'll flatten out. Okay, and then I'm gonna weave this into a couple of the back loops here. Okay, blue one. All right, so that is your standard starburst. Now I'm going to add the 4th round. So this is what we've been waiting for. So I'll insert my hook into any of the spaces in between your bobbles. You're going to join your yarn however you'd like to join your yarn. This is how I do it. And then the same thing, I'm going to essentially repeat the exact same thing. I'm just going to add an extra double crochet into the bobble, and I'm going to add an extra chain in between here, and that's going to let the flower part lay flatter. When you add your square round, everything will be flat and you won't have to worry about puckering or anything else on your blanket. So 1, 2, yarn over, insert. We're going to do the exact same stitch as the previous round. Okay, but instead of 5 loops on my hook, we want 6 loops on the hook, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yarn over, pull through all 6, and then chain 3, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that creates 6 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through 1, 2, 3, and chain 3. Okay, we're going to do that all the way around. So that's what it looks like so far. Halfway through, I'm going to sip, have coffee. All right, continue on. So many of you asked me how I did these, and I really didn't. I didn't follow a pattern or anything. I just kind of went with it, made a blanket. So yeah, I hope this helps out. I'm flattered that you all love it so much. It is very pretty. I like that it opens up. Sunbursts tend to be so close and a very solid looking granny square, and I don't know, I find it doesn't really look like your traditional granny, so I like that this one's a little more holy. And then if you do use like a continuous join as you go to join all of them, then it just looks a little more, I don't know, suitable. What's the word I'm looking for? I don't know, it just seems to go better. I find that I can't really use like a granny stitch to join my my Sunburst grannies. I always have to do like a solid crochet border or whatever because it seems to just suit it better. But this way I can use the granny stitch, the beloved granny stitch. 3. It's very hard to count and talk at the same time, in case you hadn't noticed. 1, 2, 3. Okay, last one. And then we're going to join into the top space in between the first two here, just with a slip stitch, and pull that tight. Okay, so that's what it looks like. It's fairly flat, even as a circle, so that's kind of nice. So when you know that it's working out, I'll weave in these ones. Oh, that's a very long tail. There we go. And then the same as your standard Sunburst granny, we turn it into a square, and we turn it into a square the exact same way. So if you know how to do that, you can be on your merry way, and if you want to continue watching, you can do that too. Also, I should mention that when I put on this 4th round, I did not work over this tail. Why didn't I work over that tail? Can anyone tell me? It is because the stitches are so spaced out when you go around this way that I hate being able to see that line of yarn being worked over. So in all the other ones, the stitches are tight enough that you can't see your yarn being worked over. See, here's your orange and you can't see it, so that's fine. But as soon as you can, I leave that tail and I will sew it in to the back of these stitches. I just go back, forth, 3 or 4 times, and then that's done. So I don't like carrying my yarn around. I hate that look, so it's one of my pet peeves. So, done with that. Now we are going to turn it into our square. So, join in between any of your bobbles here. Okay, so this one here counts as 1. I'm going to drop my tail and chain 3. 1, 2, 3, but that's an actual 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, because we're going to work trebles. Okay, so we're going to yarn over twice, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. Do that one more time. Yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2. So this first chain here counts as your first treble. Okay, then you work 2 others, and we're going to chain 3. Now into this same spot, we're going to work the other 3 to complete our corner here. So 1, 2, and 3. So that's your first corner. And then we're going to work into our next space, double crochets. So 3 double crochets, 1, 2, and 3. Then into our next space, we're going to work 3 half doubles. 1, 2, 3 half double crochets. Into the next one, we are going to work 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 2, slipping all over here, 3. And then into the next one, we're going to do our corner. So this is where we work our trebles. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 for the corner. And into that same spot, 3 more trebles. 1, 2, and 3. In the next one, we're going to do the same thing. So double crochets, half double crochets, double crochets. So 1, 2, 3 double crochets. And 1, 2, 3 half double crochets, 1, 2, 3 double crochets, and then our trebles for our third corner here. 1, 2, 3. Kind of squish them down so you can fit them all in. Chain 3 for your corner, and work 3 more into that same spot. 1, 2, and 3. And the same thing across the top here. 1, 2, 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3 half double crochets. 1, 2, 3 double crochets, and then we're going to work our final corner over here, okay? So 1 treble, 2, 3, chain 3, and 3 more into that corner. 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to work our last stitches across the top here. So 1, 2, 3 double crochet. Oops. Caught myself though. 1, 2, 3 half doubles. 1, 2, and 3 double crochets. All right, we'll curl up here. There we go. Once you get to that, you're going to slip stitch into the top of your chain 4, right in there. And then you can tie off. So there you have it, guys. It's a little puckery. I'm not going to sew my ends in right now. I'll do that after. It's just for a tutorial. So there you have it, and it lies nice and flat. So comparison, this one still wanted to pucker and everything. This one's nice and flat. Okay, so there you go, the new and improved. And you know what, it made quite a difference in the size of the square too, actually, when you look at them, just for curiosity's sake. So this one was 5. Yeah, it's almost 5.5. I mean, my standard Sunburst granny squares are usually 4.5. So that's with just the 3 rounds and then the square. So makes quite a difference. Less squares, the better. Cheers. Bye, guys.